This is a CyberPower 625VA UPS unit, which apparently is bad. So let's plug it in and see what happens. Plugged in, we got a little bit of power here. That's one thing I've noticed about these, pretty much all of these UPS units, is even whenever it's off, nothing is plugged in, this thing is still consuming power. So let's turn it on. Okay, we've got some beeps and clicks and a little bit more power usage. Doesn't look bad to me, but who knows? Let's put our lamp of the apocalypse here. Battery protected or battery supported. Okay, we got about 66 watts. Now what happens if I unplug it over here? Yeah, okay, that's what it does. Now it's still screaming and still using power. Yeah, and you got to hold that thing down to shut it up, still using power. Okay, well, obviously it's bad. So let's see if we have a tamper-proof battery compartment, which I don't think we do here. This one. Also, this has some heft to it, unlike that 450 that I tore down earlier. So it looks like we have a number 2 Phillips on the battery door here. And I think this, somebody wrote bad upside down on it, but it's not there. Okay. Alright, so we have a 5.5 amp hour cell A. Go ahead and disconnect that. And just for S's and G's, let's give the battery a test. Wow. So, 10.6 volts, which is crap, but I guess high enough to where this thing tries to charge it. But at 2 ohms of internal battery resistance, this thing is smoked. So yeah, that explains the behavior on this. The circuitry inside this isn't smart enough to do a internal resistance test like this meter is. So it's just going by battery voltage. And it says 10.6. I'm sure the cutoff on this is probably 10 or 10.5. But it's able to charge it. And in fact, let's look at the charging voltage while this thing is plugged in. So let's kill this. Actually, I want to look at the charging voltage and amperage, and I probably should have done that in the last one. Well, the good news is I've either hooked this up wrong or it's not using any power from the battery while idle. So let's plug it in. Oh boy, gotta get this in the shot. Okay, so we've got 5.6 watts going in, and got something covered up here. Maybe. Okay, so we're charging at 13.54, 6.5 watts in. Looks like, well, that sit there like that. Looks like 282 milliamps at 13.3. Let's do some maths on that. Let's see. We've got 13.49 times 0.368. So that's about 4.96 watts going into the battery. And it's using 7.98 watts. So, yeah, real efficient here. Okay, so I'm guessing that the circuitry inside here is monitoring the charging voltage on here. And it sees 13.4. Okay, the battery is there. It is taking charge. We see that the amps is slowly creeping up here. Okay, that all looks good. So let's get our load plugged back in here. And we'll watch these meters whenever I try not to shock myself here. Alright, so let's plug this. Okay, is that on? No. Okay, let me turn on the UPS. Okay, we're on. We hear some clicks. Okay, so that click, well, I was expecting another one, but I wonder if that was turning off the input to test the battery and to look at the voltage. But at 12.75, okay, it's still taking power. This probably thinks the battery is good. Let's turn on the load. Okay, battery is still charging. We've got a load. Obviously, we're pulling more power because it's going to this heater here. All right, I'm going to interrupt main power. And then, yeah, our battery drops immediately to 11 volts. Inverter probably cuts off, and, we lost power to our load. So this thing has failed, but the failure, I don't think the UPS unit itself is bad. I just think the battery is bad, but the UPS is too stupid to know that, hey, guys, look, the internal resistance of the battery is sky high. You need to replace the battery. Otherwise, whenever you need this thing, it's not going to work. Okay, let's see if this is built any better than the 450 unit. Again, I think these are #1 Phillips. Oh, good Lord. Now, I'm not going to cut this one up because I think I do have another battery I can put in here. Because I do still use this type of UPS. I would certainly not buy them new because the USB, does this even have USB? Yeah, it has USB here. I don't think that other one did. It doesn't, the microcontroller on it doesn't identify a serial number, and it doesn't expose a bunch of other, there we go. The APC ones just have a lot better information that you can get via USB, so. Did I get that one? Yeah, I got them all. Okay, so pretty similar circuitry here to the one we tore down earlier. Looks like we've got two 40 amp fuses on the battery side. I'm guessing this daughter board or whatever that is, I'm guessing that's what communicates with the USB, because it looks like it's something that, these could be easily manufactured without that. And it's got another pin header here that maybe that's for some other add-on stuff. But the only thing I'm noticing, okay, so this is these wires here, which are a lot thinner, are the input wires for the power to the charger and inverter, and ultimately to whatever is plugged in on the battery side. So what are these? These are still they claim to be 18 gauge. I guess they're just not as hardy as these others over here. The other difference I'm seeing is this right here, which is the USB charger. And that just looks like a fully self-contained thing here. This brown and blue wire plugs back in, so it's probably just like the insides of a phone charger. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I still use these, so I'll put it back together and put a new battery in it. Actually, I should do that now. So let's see if I'm smart enough to get this back together without any parts left over. Now let me get a battery that I think is good. Okay, well, fresh out of batteries that'll fit this, the only ones that I have are these little ones. I mean, technically that would still work. It just wouldn't last as long, but I'm not going to do that. So we'll just put this back together and no battery. And that's another thing is, you know, if you're going to buy cheap UPS units like these, either plan on replacing the whole thing, which if you charge anything for labor or whatever, your time is worth anything, then by the time you get a new SLA battery and have it shipped and everything, you're running into getting, something like this with free shipping on Amazon for, a little bit more, and then you have all new equipment. But either do that or just plan on replacing the batteries every 3 years, because as we saw, these things are just too stupid to know whenever the battery is so weak and has such a high internal resistance that, it is, even if it takes a charge, it's going to let you down whenever the power goes out. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.